now it's the present. Georgia has won 5 straight in this series. We've had some pop-up showers at times, but a light wind in 77 right now. Sanford Stadium has been on this plot of soil for 93 years. This is the biggest game that's ever been played here. You ready? Can't wait! Let's do it. Paxton Brooks to kick as Tennessee won the toss and the throw. High short kick.
Y'all, welcome back to the Life of Dustin and Allison. We appreciate y'all watching, and if you're currently watching right now, we ask you just to like, subscribe, and tap the bell for notifications of new videos. Now today, I've got a special edition to start off. As you see this book here, you can be looking at that as I kind of talk through this. I got a couple things to say. First off, y'all know how big of a diehard Georgia Bulldog fan I am. But basically, there's this group on YouTube that I follow. They cover the Georgia Bulldogs. They're reporters, analysts, and photographers for the Georgia Bulldogs. The main guy, his name is Dean Legge. And the name of their podcast and their YouTube videos and everything they do, their whole thing is called Dog Post. And I really like them. You know, there's a lot of different videos on YouTube I like, as far as, you know, like the 247 Sports, The Late Kick with Josh Pate, and I watch my Dog Nation Daily every day. But this is one of the groups that covers Georgia, and I really like them. And again, it's called Dog Post, DAWGPOST on YouTube. Well, after Georgia won the 2021 National Championship, they come out with a book commemorating that championship, and this is it right here. And they named it Dogstruction, and you see there at the bottom it says, by Dean Legge. And it's got the picture, the famous picture of the famous interception when Keely Ringo intercepted Bryce Young on 3rd and 10. Georgia was already beating Alabama in the national championship game by 10 points, or by 8 points. And Alabama was going to have to, you know, they were going to have to drive the field, and they were going to have to score a touchdown and have a 2-point conversion to even tie Georgia. And the game had already been looking at that point like Georgia was the dominant team. And then the famous interception happened. Keely Ringo picked the ball off from a deep pass from Bryce Young and ran it all the way back, sealing the game, ending the game anyway. So that's the brief first story. And this is the first book I ordered from Dog Post commemorating the 2021 National Championship. And it just goes through the whole season. Different moments from the season. Really cool book. The foreword's by Jeff Foxworthy. And I've had this book since then. Well, as you know, just it tells stories from every single game, and there's the guys that wrote it and their families and stuff. Just a really cool book. I can't show you every page, but anyways, it's called Dogstruction, and it's what I ordered first. And I've had this book. I ordered one for my dad and everything. Well, as you well know, Georgia went back-to-back. So what's the next thing I did? I ordered Dog Post's second book for Georgia's back-to-back national championship that they just won in 2022. The books just got printed, and I just received my book today. So this book here inside this package is going to commemorate the entire 2022 season. Now, I'm just going to open the book and do a little bit of talking about what I felt about the season. And I already know what the cover looks like, but you guys are going to see it for the first time. I ordered this book, and about 2 weeks after I ordered the book, I was watching another video on Dog Post, watching Dean Legge, and you know they're talking about getting ready for spring practice and stuff for the Bulldogs, and they talk about all of college football. You should check, if you're a Georgia Bulldog fan, check it out. And you can also get this book. But about 2 weeks after I ordered the book, I was watching a video, and he said, if you have already ordered your books, which I had already ordered one for me and my dad. My dad actually got his 2 days ago. But if you've already ordered the books, you're also getting confetti from the national championship game in SoFi Stadium when Georgia beat TCU 65-7. and the confetti started falling. You're actually going to get some of that confetti if you order now. So here's the first time I've looked at the book. I know what the cover is, but I don't know anything about the inside of the book. And here is the book.
Look!
Here is some actual confetti from the national championship game that fell that night. Now, it's not a lot, but, you know, it's cool to have some of the actual confetti.
And yours says 2023.
Yeah. So there's like a bunch of these little red things, and there's some bunch of these little black things, and this is 2023 confetti. It's not much, but it's really cool. I mean, that's from SoFi Stadium as they were raking it off the field. Just the confetti. It's not quite as much as I thought it was going to be, but it's still really, really cool. I'm going to end up putting it in like a Ziploc bag or something and keeping it. I mean, that's just kind of special stuff right there. But here is the cover of the new book. And to be honest with you, I've got a lot to say about this, but this picture, let me go ahead and be taking it out of the plastic before I show you. But this picture kind of sums up, to me, like the entire season, like a really special moment from the season. It just kind of sums up the season for me. And as I take this plastic off, you're going to be able to see the cover. And this cover is bad to the bone. So this is the second book commemorating Georgia's back-to-back national championship. Double Dogs. So the first one was Dogstruction, and this one is Double Dogs. And this is How Kirby Smart's Dogs Reached Perfection in 2022 by Dean Legge. This forward is also by Jeff Foxworthy. This was a very special moment from the season. As you see Stetson Bennett there stiff-arming either a outside linebacker or a defensive end from Tennessee. And I'm just going to do a little bit of talking about the season and just kind of try to go quickly as I can through it, because I don't want this video to be 30 minutes long, but also at the same time, I want you to be able to see. So this was the first one, which I guess I should have them the other way around, but this was the 2021 National Championship book, and this is the 2022 National Championship book. So now I've got two of them. And then, of course, the back of the books. You can see there is Kirby Smart on both of them holding the National Championship trophy. The confetti that's falling right here, I have one of those in this envelope. So it's pretty cool. So I'm going to set the one from the 2021 championship down, and I'm just going to let this book sit here as I talk through it. So after the 2021 National Championship, as you well know, Georgia broke the NFL draft record with 5 first-round NFL draft picks off defense and ended up having a combined total of 15 players drafted into the NFL, which was the most ever in NFL history at 15. And everybody said coming into the 2022 season that Georgia was obviously going to be a top 5 team. They were going to be, you know, a great team with a chance to win it all, but they lost way too many great players to go back to back and win another national championship. Well, you know now what's happened, and they did go back to back and win another national championship. But I just remember going into that 2022 season, everybody was wondering who's number one. It seemed like for 4 or 5 weeks there into the season, everybody was debating who's the best team in college football. You know, there was a lot of good teams. Ohio State was really good. Michigan was really good. Georgia was really good. Tennessee actually had exploded on the scene with an incredible offense, just an extremely high-powered offense. There were a lot of good teams, and nobody knew. It was an argument. Who's the number one team? Alabama had been looking a little shaky. I think maybe in this year, Georgia may have broke Alabama down a little bit. And now ESPN and all these guys are even saying that Georgia has possibly taken the belt from Alabama for right now. And we're just going to see how it goes from there. But anyway, Alabama was looking a little shaky. They had come within one play of almost losing to Texas. I believe Texas A&M also at the time. And could have easily already have lost 2 games. So they were looking a little shaky. Well, then there was another big game where Alabama was going to have to go into Neyland Stadium and play Tennessee. And Tennessee beat them. It was a very high-scoring game. It was like 55-48 or something like that, 52-49. Really high-scoring game. Nothing but offense, just all day long. And I guess at that point, Tennessee had beaten Alabama and made everybody think okay, now we've got our answer. We think Tennessee's the number 1 team in the country. Georgia had been number 1 all year long, and was just dominating everybody they played. But to this point, hadn't really played a top-notch team. So it eventually came around. Alabama had done beat. Tennessee had done beaten Alabama. So everybody's like, "Oh, Tennessee, they're the number 1." Because everybody was kind of still in this mode that, if you beat Alabama, they're number 1. Well, we just didn't realize at the time Alabama just wasn't that good last year, and they've lost a lot of good players in this year's draft too. So I don't know. They look like they're sliding, but at any rate, it finally come down to it. Everybody was looking forward for 3 and 4 weeks of this big showdown between Tennessee and Georgia. Everybody knew that was going to be such a great game. Well, it actually ended up, and Tennessee also had a really good game against LSU and beat LSU in Death Valley, the real Death Valley. And so that's another thing. Tennessee had done beat LSU, done beat Bama, so they're thinking, okay, Tennessee, man, they're too good. Their offense is too high powered. They're going to come in here, and now the week finally came. They're going to go into Athens and play the Bulldogs. So actually that week, because Tuesday the new rankings come out. So actually that week, they had taken Georgia down from number 1 to number 2 and put Georgia at 2 and put Tennessee at number 1. There was all kind of talk and trash talk, hype before the game. There was an old Tennessee quarterback from years ago who had said that Tennessee shouldn't be worried about playing the game in Athens because Georgia was just a cheese and wine crowd. They weren't going to get too rowdy and make too much noise. Everybody and their brother just was going on and on about this Tennessee offense. And, they did. They had Hendon Hooker and all these wide receivers, Jalen Hyatt, and I can't think of half of the receivers' names right off the top of my head. But they had 2 or 3. They had 2 really good receivers, and they had a really good collection of. They were really good on offense. They were. I think when they came into that game in Athens, they were scoring the most points. The most points out of anybody in the entire country, and I think Georgia was either number 2 or 3 in points scored. But everybody was just hyping Tennessee up, and everybody was just so sure that Tennessee was going to go into Athens, and they really believed that they had the firepower to come down in there and take down Georgia. And, everybody was hyping Tennessee up. It was like over 80% of the money, the bets in Vegas were on Tennessee. Then game day was obviously in Athens because this was considered the biggest. I can't even remember. I think Sanford Stadium has been there for like almost 100 years, and they were saying that this was the biggest game ever in Sanford Stadium. Number 1 Tennessee and number 2 Georgia. College game day, all the guys, Kirk Herbstreit and all those guys were picking Tennessee. Actually, every single one of them took Tennessee to win. And people were just saying that Tennessee's going to come into Athens. They're just too high-powered of offense, and they're going to just sling the ball up and down the field on Georgia. It's going to be a close game, but Tennessee's going to get them. And I mean to tell you that from the time that they kicked that ball off, first off, the crowd was extremely loud. It was. I said they broke the decibel record for the loudest decibel level reached at any college football game since they've been recording by the decibel system. Said that they broke the record that day in Athens. Not sustained, but we reached the highest level of loudness. And I actually went back the other day, and I actually just got a notification right now from Dog Post. They just uploaded a new video of which SEC East it went away. But anyway, they came in there and, go dog, sick, and they kicked the ball off, and the crowd was just so loud. My dad was actually at the game, which is really cool too. And he, like I said, he's already got his book. But basically, every single thing that they were saying that Tennessee was going to do to Georgia, Georgia did to Tennessee. Georgia was the team slinging the ball up and down the field. And it's like Stetson Bennett reared back probably 3 or 4 or 5 times and just had somebody wide open. We had so many different guys getting the ball and just so many explosive plays, deep passes, long runs. And Tennessee just could not do anything. And, Georgia just had the chokehold on them. They ended up sacking Hendon Hooker 7 times that game. And it was just, if you would have seen the score at halftime, you would have thought, oh, this is going to be a good game. But if you had actually watched the game or had been at the game, you would have realized this game was over at halftime. It was decided at halftime. And it was just obvious. It was obvious that Georgia was the dominant team. Tennessee couldn't do anything. They come out in the second half. Georgia had a big lead, and it started pouring down rain, and Georgia just choked the life out of the game. They just started running the ball, and they knew that in the rain, Tennessee was definitely not going to be able to run on them or score enough points to catch up. Final score ended up being 27-13, but it was just a huge moment in the season. As you can get a look at Stetson Bennett there doing the stiff arm, and it was just a big moment. And at that point, it was a big, like I said, there was still a debate about who the number one team was, who was the best team in the country. And it was that day when every single person said, there is no doubt the Georgia Bulldogs are the best team in the country. I mean, Tennessee had looked so good. I mean, they had looked so powerful, so high-powered on offense, and they done beat Alabama, and they done went into Death Valley and beat LSU and beat a couple of other, done beat Florida. Who's their perennial big brother? Tennessee. They do everything right, but they never can beat Florida. But they did last year, and they come into Athens, and everybody was just so sure that Tennessee was going to just high power offense their way through beating the Dogs, and it could not have went more opposite. It was just a big day, and so it was a big running joke between the Georgia fans that Tennessee was the number one team, because the rankings come out that Tuesday. And they put Tennessee at 1 and Georgia at 2. And by that Saturday, Georgia had done put it on them. And Tennessee was the number one team in the country, and all the fans were going crazy. People were commenting on my like when every time I watch a YouTube video with the late kick, Josh Payton, he's a whole other group besides Dog Post, but I always comment because sometimes he calls out the hometowns and stuff. I always say "Go Dogs, sick 'em," Sharpsburg, Georgia, and somebody had actually replied back to my comment and said, the Vols are going to rip them doggies a new one. And it couldn't have went more opposite. So it was a big running joke that Tennessee was the number one team in the country for 4 days. And they're actually making shirts now saying that Tennessee was number one for 72 hours and this and that stuff. But anyway, Georgia went on to dominate the rest of the season. Everybody else they played, they pretty much just shut the life out of the game, choked the life out of it. Just dominant on defense, dominant on offense, and they ended up going into the SEC championship game with LSU, and everybody was pumped up for that game, and Georgia just put it on them. I mean, Georgia beat LSU worse than they beat Tennessee. It was like 35-3 or 35-7 at halftime, and maybe it was like 28-7. I don't know. It was over at halftime. The final score ended up being 50-30, but anybody who watched that game knew that it was over at halftime. And the game changes when you're up by 5 touchdowns. You don't necessarily have to score. I know Georgia let LSU come back a little bit there, but like I said, when you're up 28, 35 points at halftime, the game kind of changes a little bit. You can kind of just let them ease their way up the field knowing that they can't catch you. And we just ran the life out of that game. And then the Ohio State game will always be, I'm telling you, that game right there, I was more nervous. Wow. And I just opened the cover of the book, and they're commemorating the life of Chandler LaCroix and Devin Willett in memory of these two who died in a car crash shortly after the national championship game. They were celebrating the national championship and got killed in a car crash. But the forward is by Jeff Foxworthy. Wow. So I need to just keep talking and stop looking through this book, or I'll get sidetracked. But yeah, Georgia played Ohio State in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, and that was the closest game. That was the most nervous I've ever been in a football game in my entire life. And it's like my dad said, coming into the next season, coming into this coming up season, if you didn't beat Georgia last year, like Ohio State played their A+ game, played so good, and if you didn't beat Georgia last year, that was your chance. Last year was your chance to beat Georgia, okay? Because from here on out, they're getting better. I want you to know that the recruiting classes, the guys that they have coming in, and guys that they already have on the team, are more higher rated than the guys they had that they just won 2 national championships with. So they went on to beat Ohio State in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, and they were going to play TCU in the national championship game. And all these pictures are only taken by the crew at Dog Post. So all this is, you're only going to see this here. This isn't going to be on ESPN where everybody's got the same pictures. That's the Tennessee game right there. And so they were going to play the national championship against TCU. I feel like everybody knew that Georgia was going to beat TCU, but nobody knew it was going to be that bad. I mean, if I had told you a week before the game that Georgia's going to beat TCU and the final score is going to be 65-7, you would have thought I was crazy. But that's what happened that day. I mean, it was an absolute drubbing, just an absolute massacre. Jim Donnan, the old Georgia coach, was down on field level, and he said that if you could just like stand on the field, you can't tell on TV, but if you if you go to one of these Georgia practices or we're at one of these games, you stand on the field level, and he said you just look over at the TCU guys and you look over at the Georgia guys, and you just know TCU's about to be in for a long, long day. Is that? I don't know who that is for Tennessee, but that's Stetson Young escaping a defender. Georgia just it was just a magical day. It was just a magical day, and it's been a magical 2 years, to be honest with you. Somebody said, I heard a Georgia fan say, did you ever dream of anything like this? And somebody said, my dreams didn't go that far. So they've won 2 national championships now. I told my dad after they won the first one that they were going to win 3 in a row, and I knew he was going to think I was crazy, but I truly believed it. And it's been a dominant 2 years. Georgia reigns supreme on top of the college football world right now, and they are looking to win 3 in a row. Georgia is looking to match Michael Jordan. Just think about that, Georgia fans. Just think about that. Georgia is looking to match something that only Michael Jordan has done and win 3 championships in a row. It was just a great season. Georgia ended up just destroying TCU 65-7. And like I said, the guys that they have coming in now are higher rated than the guys they just won 2 national championships with. Seems like there was a couple other things I wanted to say that I can't get off my mind now. I shouldn't have started looking through this book because now I can't. There was the great Georgia was down like 2 touchdowns, and they had the Arian Smith was wide open down the sidelines, and they come back, and then man, it was just such a great year, such a great game. But I'm just telling you now that, and even a lot of my Georgia buddy fans, they don't understand. Like I studied Georgia, and they're worried. Like, what are we gonna do now? You know, we're losing Jalen Carter, and we're losing Stetson Bennett. What are we gonna do next year? And I'm just telling you right now, Georgia's not gonna be worse than they were these previous 2 years, and they're not going to be just as good as they were this previous 2 years. They're going to get better. They're going to get better. I'm just telling you, they got a lot of faith in Carson Beck, and I just don't know. I don't know. That's where Ohio State missed the field goal. I don't know who's going to challenge the Dogs. I don't know who's going to challenge Georgia. It's kind of a scary thing right now because these guys, what it is they have not only a great collection of talent, but they also love each other. They have the culture. They have the culture right. Did you see the video the other day of the team watching Nolan Smith run his 40 in the NFL Combine? I mean, them guys went nuts when Nolan Smith ran that Combine. I mean, when he ran that 40-yard dash in the Combine, it was like a 4.39 for a edge player. It was crazy. There's a great picture right there. That's Robert Beal, and that's Robert Beal, and Holly. When you get on video, you can't think. Is that Nazir Stackhouse or big number 99? I can't even think. That's Big Bear Alexander, and this number 13 right here. For some reason, I cannot think of his name. Michael Williams. This guy right here, number 13. He's a defensive end. They are saying, Jim Donnan and them guys are saying over on UGA Sports Live, that number 13, Michael Williams, is going to be the real deal. They're saying he's going to be the next big thing. But anyway, that's the book. Georgia wins 2 national championships in a row. And next year they are looking to equal only Michael Jordan in winning 3 national championships in a row. That was just, I think that was the one of the greatest pictures they could have ever chosen to put on the front of this book. Because that was just such a big moment in the season. You know, everybody was just, oh my goodness, the firepower Tennessee has, and everybody last year was just talking about Bama. And there's the 2 books right there, and It seems like there's a lot more I have to say, but I know this video went to 24 minutes. I could talk all day about Georgia. But yeah, they're gonna be super, super good next year. Carson Beck looks really good. May not be quite as mobile as Stetson Bennett, but I've heard he's a better quarterback than Stetson Bennett. He's a better pocket passer than Stetson Bennett. So we're gonna work the offense to his skill set, and they're gonna get it right. Todd Monken went on to the NFL to be the Baltimore Ravens offensive coordinator, but we got Mike Bobo back in there, and anybody who's nervous about Mike Bobo and stuff, just like my dad said, Mike Bobo was averaging 41 points a game when Hudson Mason was the quarterback and John Theus was the left tackle. I'm just trying to figure out if I need to get in touch with Dog Post and tell them what I think they should name the third book that I'm going to be buying next year when Georgia three-peats as national champions, and does something that nobody has ever done in the history of college football and win 3 in a row. Maybe 120 years ago somebody did, like Army, but it doesn't count in this day and time. Competition is stiff, but I'm already thinking about the third book and thinking that they need to name it, maybe, let's see, we got Dogstruction, and now we got Double Dogs, so we got to think of something for 3. I'm thinking maybe Dog Pete. Instead of 3-peat, Dog Pete. But I'm so happy that I got to share some of this book with you guys. I ordered early, so I got some confetti, but if you want to order, just look up Dog Post or anything online, or if you just want to comment, I may even end up putting the link in the comments of this video. I know this video has gotten really long. This is the life of Dustin and Allison, and I was just really excited to get this book. As my Georgia Bulldogs have won 2 national championship rings in a row, I just thought of what I wanted to say. And it's I'm not gonna. I'll just say it, but I'm not gonna hold up my bird fingers. But yeah. I watch another guy, Uncle Lou, and he's a crazy Georgia fan, and he's constantly just going nuts about this and that, praising Georgia when they do good and hating on them when they do bad. He gets stuff riled up. He's really smart when it comes to football, but he's just a goofball. And he said, after Georgia won that national championship, with Stetson Bennett winning 2 national championships, let's see, we got Hendon Hooker at Tennessee. Highly rated. Oh, they're the best offense in the country. They're gonna beat everybody. Nobody can stop this offense. On and on. 0 national championships. And then you got, what's his name out there at USC now? Won the Heisman Trophy. I can't even think of it. Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams at USC. He's just the greatest thing we've ever seen. He's won the Heisman Trophy, and he's gonna win national championships over Lincoln Riley and that high-powered offense. 0 national championships. C.J. Stroud at Ohio State, highly rated 5-star, highly rated quarterback coming into Ohio State with all these NFL receivers, and oh goodness, they're gonna push Ryan Day. Ryan Day's gonna get them. They're gonna win national championship. He's gonna win the Heisman. He's gonna be all this and that. 5 million yards. This and that. 0 national championships. Bryce Young at Alabama, highly rated 5-star. Oh, he's just all this and that. He's going to throw for 5,000 yards. He's going to have 46 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. He's going to win the Heisman. They're going to win national championship after national championship. 0 national championships. Stetson Bennett for the Georgia Bulldogs, walk-on quarterback. Man just loved Georgia, and man just loved the Bulldogs, and he just loved to compete and just had that fire that it takes on the inside to be a champion. 2 national championships. And Uncle Lou on YouTube, I ain't gonna do. He's a nut. He said all these quarterbacks, all these 5-star quarterbacks that were gonna do this and do that. C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young and Hendon Hooker and Caleb Williams and all these guys and Max Duggan at TCU. 0 national championships between all of them. Between all 5 or 6 or 7 of them. 0 national championships. Stetson Bennett, 2 national championships. And he said, Stetson Bennett can put a national championship ring on each middle finger. And it was just great. But I just wanted to share this book with you guys. I know this video has gotten way, way, way too long. But this is it. This is Double Dogs and Dogstructions. Georgia has won 2 national championships in a row. And they are looking next year to equal, like I said, only Michael Jordan in winning 3 championships in a row. And I feel very confident that they're going to get that done. I can't wait. It's going to be great. I'm excited. And that's about all I can think to say now. As soon as I end this video, I have 100 million other things to say. I got to get my books stacked back up back here how I had them. How about them dogs?